talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Jimmy Butler wants to leave because Jimmy Butler knows that Riles isn't going to pay him, and he wants to get paid. Simply put, if they would have given Jimmy Butler this contract extension in the summer when he asked, this wouldn't be happening. But Riles did it, and Riles wanted him to play. So now he's disgruntled because he wants out.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pitch, the players, the hustlers, the people of Bustler, and everybody else in between. Sirius XM Channel 159, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network. Let's do this thing. Countdown to Super Bowl 59 continues. And despite the public backlash about the Kansas City Chief and the Philadelphia Eagle matchup, the fact of the matter is it is a great football matchup. The thing is, people just don't like the teams, right? The Eagles live in an us versus the world mentality, right? The city of Philadelphia and Eagle fans. And listen, Eagles do have fans outside of Philadelphia. They are a pretty popular franchise, but it's not like people like them, right? And you know, the television numbers dictate that. Like, their ratings aren't great, and you've got a Kansas City Chief fatigue factor in play. But from a football standpoint, it is a very good football game. When they played in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, it was a great game, 38-35. So we'll break it down. We'll get Brady Cannon's thoughts on the Super Bowl. We'll get Brady Cannon's thoughts on Pebble Beach. Brady Cannon in the house. Paul Bovey throws it down with us. We'll get his Super Bowl takes, as well as talk some NBA with Paul Bovey. Babano throws it down with us this evening. Ian Cameron in the house, the Raging Redhead Cam Stewart. So we got a full house on the Wicked Wednesday this evening. And we do have a bunch of late-night action going off the board. We can tell you the New York Knicks just beat the Denver Nuggets. This game just went final seconds ago, 122-112. Big-time win for the New York Knicks tonight, laying 2.5 points. NBA basketball going on right now. The Phoenix Suns are up 59-53 late in the second quarter over the visiting Minnesota Timberwolves. Not a bad basketball game. And the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Golden State Warriors in a late game of the night tonight. And Warriors shorthanded once again, not fully shorthanded, but the Golden State Warriors are getting 9.5 points in this game. And I know Oklahoma City are really good, but it's a lot of points to be laying. It does feel like a chalk night tonight with the late night card. Like, I don't think Oklahoma City are going to love this game. I think they're going to beat Golden State. And I don't really want to lay the 9.5, but I think they're going to win the game. Then you get into UNLV at Utah State. UNLV are not a good road team. Like, they're going to lose this game tonight in Logan, Utah. Utah State are going to win the game. Then you get into Nevada and Boise State. I say that Boise State are going to win the game. And you've got Syracuse and Stanford coming up tonight as well. And I'll tell you what, don't look now, but the Stanford Cardinal team, Stanford football has taken a big step back, but Stanford basketball has slid right into the ACC, and they're enjoying life in the ACC. They're 5-1 in their last 6 basketball games. And a lot of these ACC teams are having a big-time problem, man, when they go out west to play Cal and to play Stanford. Another big-time point spread tonight. But if we chalk it all up, and it's not a very fun number to be laying here to win 4 games. The Oklahoma City Thunder to win a game, the Utah State Aggies to win a game, Boise State Broncos to win a game, and the Stanford Cardinal to win the game tonight. Minus 104, 14 banger. Minus 104, it's rough. I think, if you're opposed to that, we can look at Syracuse and Stanford. The total is 147. I think that's manageable. I think we can get the over. Syracuse and Stanford. This game doesn't tip off until 11 o'clock Eastern, so you've got an hour for that one. But Nevada and Boise State are tipping off right now, and UNLV and Utah State are tipping off right now. I already have Stanford at the back end of some money line parlays, but I do think the game goes over to 147. NHL hockey were late night in a late night hours tonight. There were some games earlier this evening, but we can tell you the Vancouver Canucks and the Nashville Predators are tied at 1 right now. The second period just started. We're on the under in this game, and we got the Vancouver Canucks. Total was an even 6, so we got an even 6, and we got the Canucks plus 120. Canucks are battling for a playoff spot, and even though they've got off-ice controversy with a lot of trade talk surrounding the team, they have won 2 games in a row, and I think they are capable of stringing together a little bit of a run. In-game total right now is 6.5. You're getting plus 115 with the Canucks. I like the play still, right? I mean, listen, I got it at 6, so I don't have a problem with it at 6.5 if you're clicking in-game right now. I would go under the 6.5. Demko's playing well. And I think the Canucks can win this game at plus 115. Utah. We'll get into the Utah Hockey Club talk a little bit tonight, just due to their name. They're finally going to decide on a name. We should let you know, though, that it's scoreless right now with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Penguins and the Utah Hockey Club scoreless 9 minutes into the game. In-game total currently 5.5. Utah are minus 130 on the money line. Pittsburgh are plus 100. To me, this is one of these games that whoever was kind of the dog, I think I would take a look at. I don't really trust Utah minus 130. It's an average Pittsburgh Penguins hockey club, but the Penguins are weird. They can be good on any given. Like, the Penguins can beat anybody, but they can lose to anybody. They're kind of like the Atlanta Hawks, the Pittsburgh Penguins, So the Utah Hockey Club, they called themselves the Utah Hockey Club because they came into the league so fast, and they were like, we're going to decide on a name. They wanted to use the name Yeti, but they can't do the copyright infringement, which I really don't get. That's ridiculous. It's like the Las Vegas Golden Knights wanted to be the Las Vegas Black Knights. That's what they wanted to be called, the Black Knights, but Army football wouldn't allow it, right? And I don't know, you have a bunch of other Tigers and same team names, but so they're down to 3 names, and people on the Vancouver Canucks have just scored to take a 2-1 lead, and people are less than enthusiastic about the names. Listen, if you don't know how to say the name, you got a problem with the name, right? That's kind of like, it's sort of like a company, because a sports team name is a company. So whether it's stupid or not, and whether you think whether you think it's a dumb name, as long as you're able to say the name. But people are having a hard time with the Utah names. And I've got a million tweets here. What the hell is a Wasatch? And people don't really even know that's how you pronounce it, a Wasatch. And the Utah Wasatch take a 1-0 lead tonight. It just doesn't work, guys. Seriously. I don't have a Harvard degree in business or anything like that. I didn't go to the Wharton Business School, but this is like Moulin Springs bottled water in Seinfeld. It's like, we got to do something about this name. It's like really, like, if people can't say it and they don't know what the hell it is, for the record, a Wasatch. That's how you say it, Wasatch. A Wasatch is it's a mountain range in Utah. It's like 1.3 billion years old, which is pretty cool. Like Utah's got a lot of old fossils and dinosaurs and all that type of stuff there. So yeah, the Wasatch Mountains, they are like an historical, it's not an official government landmark, but it is, it's a geographical like landmine, so to speak, gold mine, right? Like it's been there for over like 1 billion years and there's all kinds of stuff there, but people don't know how to say it. Listen, people are stupid, all right? Like people like have never been dumber than they are right now in the year 2025 in the history of society, literally and figuratively. If our era was born in the 1800s, we'd all die within like 3 days. All right? Like how long would people last in the Wild West? Not long. All right? So people don't know what a freaking Wasatch is. And I don't think they know what the hell a mammoth is either, to be honest with you. You might have to go with the Utah Hockey Club. It is pretty simple. This is SportsRage. Bring it.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The Pips, the Players, the Hustlers, the people, the Busted, and everyone else in between. SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM, Channel 159. So countdown to the Super Bowl is on. Last night we gave you some trends. We said on a nightly basis we'll sort of give you the couple of trends of the day. Yesterday the trends that we spoke about were pretty Philadelphia friendly. Tonight we've got some Kansas City friendly trends this evening. But we got Brady Cannon in the house, the Ranger Red, Cam Stewart with us as well. We got the Pebble Beach TGL. I want to get to the TGL, and we'll get to the Super Bowl. Good to see you, Brady. How you doing tonight? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, the Wicked Wednesday is back, and a signature event. Scotty Scheffler's back, Rory McIlroy's back, Colin Morikawa, all the guys are here at the iconic golf course, Pebble Beach, along the Monterey Peninsula. So I know we're fired up, Cam. We got our picks. I just sent a tweet out. I talked to our colleague and friend, the great Keith Stewart. I've been, kind of looking at this guy all week, and I was wondering and I just hadn't pulled the trigger yet, and I saw that Keith was on him, so I called Keith. I go, Keith, what am I missing here? I ended up going with Tom Kim. So now I've got a 6-pack at Pebble Beach, which is very appropriate. So had 5, added Tom Kim, now 6 outrights I've got for Pebble Beach this week.
Tom Kim, best putter on the TGL Tour.
Yeah.
This guy, unbelievable.
It's funny. Talking about the TGL.
Aside. Yeah, he was the
about
difference
the TGL,
for Jupiter.
Gabe. That's what
I was a week early
on it.
I was a week early with Jupiter, and then suddenly they got Tom Kim on the team, and then suddenly he's dropping putts like 22 footers and stuff like that. Big difference.
It's like we talked about before, even the TGL, like 90% of the money was like on Boston Common. Now Tiger wins as a pooch, right? Like it was like everybody had Boston Common parlayed with the Chiefs or Eagles and this and that. Like, yeah, Tom Kim was amazing, Gabe. And this tournament's going to be awesome too. It's the history. On Golf Channel, they showed when Tiger Woods, remember Brady in 2000 when he set all those records, he made up a 7-stroke deficit, Gabe, with 7 holes to go. It started that amazing year versus Matt Gogol, and Gogol was never the same after that. Tiger, unbelievable 2000. It was amazing watching Golf Channel today.
I want to get, though, to the numbers. And when I saw the TGL in week 1, I saw the potential there. I was like, this is going to work. People are going to like this. It's quick. It's fast. They've got like celebrity guests there. Fans are enjoying it in the arena. People can bet on it. Like I thought there was some potential there for it. And I was like, you know what? Like, and I don't watch the PGA. I'm sort of like, I watch the majors. You know what I mean? Like I'll check in on the Sunday or something like that, but I don't religiously watch PGA tournaments. Like I haven't watched these past tournaments like that have been going on so far. But neither has anybody else, evidently. And I said, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if the TGL gets better numbers than the PGA Tour does. And I was bang on. So the TGL is averaging nearly 900,000 viewers a game, a week. So they're averaging like 874,000 viewers, something like that. None of the last 3 PGA events have cracked 500,000. In fact, one of them on Sunday only had like 200,000.
It's crazy.
Like we're getting into live viewers here. I'm just calling out for what it is. And people, and I even saw golf
this week.
So, yeah, and that's what I was going to get to. There's no NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Scheffler back. There's going to be some names, and I get it. This was just the silly season. But at the same point in time, I've seen even golf guys like Mayo and Feinberg and these guys. We were talking about it online together, and other golf guys about the load management. Like I'm not going to play this Torrey Pines because we're going back there again. It's like, you guys have a ratings issue right now. You actually have sort of a sporting war going on with another golf league, and you guys don't show up, right? And then you wonder why only 200, it's like you guys don't care. It's almost like the NBA players. Do you guys care that, like, the numbers are going down and you're not doing anything about it? And I know today golf had a big pace of play thing. They think pace of play is the big reason why numbers are down. But I want to get to that and just say, so the TGL's getting like nearly 1 million viewers on average, and they keep coming back, right? We've had 4 of them now, and people have come back. It's always been one of them dipped to like 684,000, but it was a freaking blowout. The Atlanta Drive one, when they just smoked the other team 12-0 or whatever. People tuned out, but we'll see this weekend at Pebble Beach. And obviously the majors coming up and stuff, they'll get ratings, but you're in the golf world, Brady, and you see this right now. Like the PGA needs to – it's been a couple of years now that this live stuff punched them in the mouth, and they really haven't done a good job of ever doing anything about it.
Well, a couple things. I thought Rory made a good point. He says there's about 6 guys on the live circuit that matter. And I agree. It's like John Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton and Cameron Smith and Brooks Koepka, a couple Joaquin
Bryson.
Neiman. It's Bryson. There you go. I think we're at a half a dozen right there. There's your 6 guys. that would be certainly welcome back to drive the bus, drive the ratings, what have you, at the PGA Tour stuff. Justin Thomas has come out and said, hey, guys, we got to make this broadcast better, doing more of these on-course interviews and stuff. And pace of play is an issue as well. And you're absolutely right about the load management, Gabe. I mean, you had 20-some guys withdraw from Pebble Beach or something like that. And, if I didn't have money on Harris English last week, I wouldn't have been watching Harris English and Andrew Novak battle it out for 5.5 hours, I mean – so, and, Torrey Pines is near and dear to my heart, too, because I went to school down there. I love La Jolla. I love looking at it. I grew up near Pebble. I love looking at Pebble. And this week you've got all the stars out. But, yeah, last week, boy, if I didn't have a Sunday sweat going with English, I would have been watching something different, I imagine, for sure.
It is an issue, too. And Dottie Pepper finally called her out. She's an older lady on tour. She's got the equipment. It's waiting so long for these guys to go. Pace of play is the major issue because these guys are screwing around, and that's what they're talking about at Pebble Beach, Brady. You don't play with these they don't want to have these hacks come back because they're turning this thing into like a 6-hour extravaganza. The players are like, come on. Like Novak was pissed because he's a fast player. It's like, let's go. Like it's annoying to these guys.
The TGL is cool because it's fast. The PGA is slow.
Too slow.
And people are enjoying betting it. Like Dane Martinez and I were talking tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Dane's telling me that he's been crushing the long drive props in the TGL.
That is awesome.
He goes, I love betting TGL. Great, it's awesome. I'm killing the long drive props.
It's awesome.
What did you think of stopping for Wynn?
Well, tell me this. What side of the fence is Pharrell on here?
Well, he absolutely hated it. I didn't like it, but he was much stronger on the hated the fact that they stopped the golf tournament. I didn't love it either.
If the golf ball, when you're standing over it and you're having golf balls move, they're going to have to halt play.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. All right, we talked about the TGL, which I've enjoyed. Shout out to our guy, Dane Martinez. Told me he's been betting on the props, like long drives and stuff. It's great. Betting on a simulator, long drives. I was talking about the TGL earlier, and he sent me a post saying that he's been betting against Tiger Woods, any prop he can get in the long drive. I got to start digging in deeper to these TGL props. I think we got a doubleheader coming up this week, actually. I'm pretty sure this is the week. There's a doubleheader coming up. But let's get to Pebble Beach. We'll start off with Brady. We'll get Cam's picks later. Brady, Pebble Beach. We'll get to the Super Bowl after Pebble Beach. What are your thoughts on this tournament as Scotty Scheffler comes back? 5-1 favorite to win. Then there's a big drop-off. Rory plus 1,300. Morikawa 13-1. JT, Justin Thomas 15. Cantlay 19. Ludwig is 22-1, playing some great golf. Hideki 22. Sungjae 27. What do you think about the odds board here, Brady, for Pebble Beach?
I tell you, the first guy I landed on was 55-1. I skipped all these shorter shots because they don't play Pebble Beach too often. You remember, before last year, this was never a signature event. And like Cam's talking about, with all these CEOs and the Pro-Am and a 3-course rotation, none of the guys were digging that stuff. Now they have to come. It's a signature event. There's only 2 days of the Pro-Am. It's only a 2-course rotation. They play Pebble 3 out of the 4 days. So, Scotty, he's only been here a couple times. Rory doesn't play here a lot. Morikawa. And, I don't really know how they're going to take to the course. Obviously, those guys can win anywhere, whenever, who knows. But I went with guys that are more familiar, and I started with a fellow Canadian. I started with Taylor Pendrith, who's just been playing some terrific golf, had another top 10 finish at Torrey Pines last week. He's played well here at Pebble, has a top 10 finish at Pebble here in 2023. So I went with Taylor Pendrith at 55, Maverick McNeely at 55-1, who, has a home on the course. He went to Stanford. He's played 1,000 times here, has a runner-up finish at Pebbles, finished 5th here before, played well all over the state of California, has a win under his belt, just recently won in November. So the form is there. And then I went to a guy that has no form right now, but has had tremendous success at this golf course, and that's Viktor Hovland. The number, this is the 9th best player in the world. And I got him at 60. I saw as high as 50, high as 70. I've seen it come down to 50. He won the U.S. Amateur here in 2018, finished 12th in the U.S. Open in 2019, and finished 13th in 2023 here. Just finished runner-up at TPC Southwind in Memphis. If there's any place the game's going to show up for Viktor Hovland, you think it would be here. Bobby Mack, Robert McIntyre, the Scotsman, links player, great short game. He ought to really love the environment here at Pebble. So I took a shot with him. And then Thomas Dietrich at 110-1, who finished 4th here last year, finished 15th last week at Torrey. And then I told you guys in the Open, I was looking long and hard all week at Tom Kim, and I spoke with our friend Keith Stewart. And we're talking about TGL. And Keith said, I saw how well this guy handled it right in front of the GOAT, right in front of Tiger, and just owned the TGL and was really on a roll and playing well. And Tom Kim is streaky. And he says, I think it's going to carry over. And there were some other things that made sense for me with Tom Kim as well. So I took a shot at him at 70-1. This guy can rack up some birdies. He's got accuracy off the tee, a great ball striker. If the putter gets hot, I think Kim will be in the mix as well.
And last week, what did the win pay for you, Brady?
110-1. That was beautiful, guys.
Wow.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, we got to congratulate. We got to bring this up. We've got to bring this up because Cam said earlier in the week on the show that whoever you take this week, he's just taking it no matter what. So
I'm betting.
After last week, 110-1, huh?
Yeah, 110. And it's been, like I say, knock on wood, it's been a good run. We hit Scotty Scheffler at the Hero in December, flipped over into 2025 and hit Hideki at the Century, and then hit Harris English last week. It's 3 out of the last 5 tournaments I've had the outright. So you know what's next. I'm due for a ice cold streak here for about the next 6 weeks.
So you just accept you're not going to bet on Scotty Scheffler ever? Or do you bet him on a matchup?
Oh, no, I bet Scheffler.
How do
bet
you do
him
it?
live a handful of times last year that was outstanding. I mean, if the guy's in the lead, he's going to win. That's the way it was last year. I bet him pre-tournament twice last year, and he didn't win. So I landed on the wrong times pre-tournament with him. But I bet him live, I literally think it was like 5 times. But coming off the hand injury, Gabe, not a whole lot of reps at Pebble. I don't know what to expect out of Scotty, so I certainly wasn't going to eat 5-1.
Yeah. I got some data on the other side I saw online about if you bet on Scotty to finish top 5 in every tournament, you actually would have made a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think of stopping him from Wynn?
Well, tell me this. What side of the fence is Pharrell on here?
Well, he absolutely hated it. I didn't like it, but he was much stronger on the hated the fact that they stopped the golf tournament. I didn't love it either.
If the golf ball, when you're standing over it and you're having golf balls move, they're going to have to halt play.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. I want to get to Brady's Super Bowl thoughts, but like I said to Cam, I said this to you last week. I said golf bettors always want more, and I can't challenge Brady Cannon, one of the best in the business, and the dude literally just hit a 110-1 shot on the show last week. But at the same point in time, I can't help but think, I've always said this, Brady, to the average sports bettor, they just sort of see plus 500, like the casual fan and like the people that are betting at MGM, right? A public spot, people are going to bet the number one guy. But I'm thinking, all right, you bet him at plus 500, is he really not going to win one of the next 5 tournaments that he plays in? You know what I mean? So it's a lot of golf bettors. I remember we used to get with the late, great Brian Blessing. I don't take anyone less than 35-1. I'm like, well, you leave a lot of winners on the table. And he goes, well, I live with it.
There's no doubt about it.
You know what I mean? And I just said from a sports betting perspective, it's like, man, if you're getting 7-1 or something, it's not a bad win. But golfers just sort of, golf bettors are like, no. But I brought it up about people, the public is going to bet on Scheffler, but he really has been a moneymaker, hasn't he, guys? If you just bet him top 5, top 10, even not just to win, because you're getting him at minus 120, top 5 all the time. And I saw the numbers, guys. It's like, man, I get you the exact number here, but it was crazy. Cam, he only didn't make the top 5 3 times in a tournament that he entered. It's insane.
No, it is insane, Gabe. And this is the 1 week. If Brady and I and you, if we got Scheffler at 5
he hasn't
to 1
played
went
in a while
healthy,
either. Like Brady said, it's coming back.
The whole
that's my thing, right?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. If Scheffler's in form and we get a 5 to 1, we'd be like, yeah, because if he has the lead on Sunday, he's going to be minus 300 or 600 or whatever.
What's he for the Masters? Let me look right now, a look ahead
he's
here.
I think plus 450.
I think he's only
here's an example
1,
for you, Gabe. He played the Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas. He's finished runner-up twice in a row, and then the last 2 years he's won the darn thing. And I bet on him both times. It's Tiger's tournament. There's 20 guys in the field. Can Scotty Scheffler beat 20 guys? Of course he can. The price last year or in 2023 was 4 to 1. I bet him. This year the price was plus 225. I still bet him. The odds maker, our good friend Jeff Sherman over at the Superbook, said that he should have been minus 225. So, Brian Blessing saying I won't bet a guy less than 35. I mean, it's like Floyd Mayweather. Minus 500 was a bargain. So, sometimes, I'm not afraid. If the price is right with Scheffler and he's on a roll, I don't mind eating that chalk sometimes. No, I mean, hey, a winner's a winner. And value's
Okay,
value.
so
If he's 5-1 and he should be 2-1, then grab it.
Mm-hmm.
let me throw some of these odds boost at you and let you think if there's any value with them here, because this one kind of looks intriguing. It's plus. It's normally plus 800. It's been boosted up to plus 945. Ludwig Aberg, top 20. Tommy Fleetwood, top 20. Victor Hovland, top 20. Which one of these guys screws this parlay up?
Oberg, Fleetwood, and who?
Hovland.
Ooh, I would probably
top 20, including ties. So not bad. Top 20,
Yeah.
including ties.
Fleetwood would be the guy I would stray away from. Hovland, I think, is, most people are going to go Hovland. Oh, he's playing like crap. I think it could be the right time where he might pop and finish top 10 this week. I've got him to win the whole thing. I think he's going to show up. He's had tremendous success at this course. Oberg, I figure he's absolutely going to finish top 20. Fleetwood might be the one to upset that.
So he's the one, huh?
I'm guessing.
Scheffler, Cantlay, and Burns is almost over 14-1. I love.
Here's the
Scheffler,
Canadian
Cantlay,
special, Cam.
Burns. Yeah, what's the Canadian
Nick
special?
Taylor, Adam Hadwin, Taylor Pendrith, all top 20. 33.65 plus 33.65.
That's a pretty good one. I think that might hit all three of them, actually.
Really?
I think he
Nick
might
Taylor,
get all three
Adam
of them
Hadwin, Taylor Pendrith. Yeah,
Who's
top
gonna screw
20,
it up?
33-1. I think it's worth a look.
Taylor's won here before.
He has.
Hadwin, has that short game. He's an accurate player. He's good in a birdie fest. And Pendrith is as hot as anybody right now. I think he could win the darn thing. So that, you know how it is, guys, when you're betting props and, exotics like this. Everybody wants to bet LeBron James and Patrick Mahomes. Some of those guys that are under the radar, those are the best ones, like those three Canadians. Who's going to gravitate towards that? No, they want to play Scheffler and Oberg and Fleetwood. I think you might have a good one there with the Canadian trifecta.
And you're getting, listen, it's 27-1, boosted to 33-1. So, you don't have to put a ton on it, but yeah, like I said, I'll put a little sprinkle on that one.
Be fun to root for anyway, right?
Yeah, it's a big time price, right? I mean, hell, $10.
There's only 80 players in this field, Gabe. There's only 80 guys in this field, so it shouldn't. Obviously, it's not as difficult to finish top 20 this week as it normally is.
Okay, so Super Bowl. Any closing thoughts on the golf? Any matchups or anything else you want to say before we get to the Super Bowl, Brady?
I played Robert McIntyre minus 145 over Akshay Bhatia, and I played Justin Thomas plus 105 over Colin Morikawa. And not that I think Morikawa is going to stink up the joint, but I thought that match should be pick'em. So if you're going to give me plus 105 with Thomas, I'll take it. I thought the price was right there. That's about it. Played the 6-pack for outrights, played them all top 20 as well, and then the 2 head-to-head matchups.
All right, so let's get to the Super Bowl. We got another rematch, and I can't help but think, so it's sort of like the San Francisco 49ers guys again, right? The Kansas City Chiefs played the Niners, then they play the Eagles. They sort of rotate, and, they play the Niners again. Now they get the Eagles again. And this is the 5th time that there's been a Super Bowl rematch in back-to-back years. The winning team the first time, 4-0 the second time.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, this is that's one thing to bring up. The rematches have not been good. It would set up like big time drama. Philadelphia could win this, and then potentially another showdown down the road. But I brought up the numbers yesterday, Brady. Pretty crazy. The team with the better record in the Super Bowl, better record in the regular season, is 2-19-1 against the spread in the last 22 Super Bowls. But you only have a point spread of 1.5 in this game. Favorites are 9-18-2 in the last 19 Super Bowls. This is another one I found interesting. Teams that played in the wild card weekend, not wild card teams, but teams that played in the wild card round are actually 13-1-1 against the spread in the Super Bowl. But you kind of throw the spread out in this game. What are your thoughts on this matchup and early leans, Brady, on the Super Bowl 59?
Well, you said it. You kind of throw the spread out. You know, my numbers come to Philadelphia as a 1-point favorite, but not a whole lot of difference there. And Kansas City being favored by 1 or 1.5. I mean, it's still a pick 'em. You're still trying to figure out who's going to win the game. What's hard for me from a power rating perspective is it feels like the Kansas City Chiefs now for a second year in a row, at least, they don't look that good, even as far or even as recent as the Texans game. Their offense did not look nearly as good as I thought that they did against your Buffalo Bills. They had an incredible effort against the Bills. The one blemish, the fumble. Otherwise, that was a very efficient effort by Kansas City, I thought, on both sides of the ball. The offense has so many weapons. I thought it was the best game they played all season, and it's like, what happened to this Chiefs that we've watched, pull a rabbit out of their hat all season long that didn't look very good? And now all of a sudden they flipped a switch in the postseason. Not many teams do that. You think about NFL teams in a must-win situation, and we think they're going to all of a sudden flip the switch because they have to win. It seems like Patrick Mahomes and maybe Andy Reid as well, and the Chiefs really can flip a switch when it comes to the postseason, because right now they look every bit as good, if not better, than the Eagles. But a few weeks ago, there was no doubt in my mind the Eagles were the better team. So that's the hard part for me here. I don't know where I'm going to go just yet with this. I'm certainly a Philadelphia fan. I want them to win the game outright. I'm not sure how I'm going to. It might be all prop bets for me, Gabe, because with the spread, I mean, you want to play a teaser, maybe you tease up Philadelphia with the total and you play the Chiefs on the money line. I don't know. I got some work yet to do on this one.
A challenging Super Bowl coming up. Listen, I know that pro bettors don't like teasers. The so-called sharps don't like teasers, but this game has teaser written all over it, man. The last 3 Super Bowls have all been 3-point games.
One of the weirdest nicknames I've heard in fighting. There's people have some strange nicknames at times, but the Lemon Killer. What do you even make of that? What is that about?
I don't even know what that means, but I'm gonna squeeze him like a lemon on the day we fight, and he's gonna pop.
Only on SportsGrid.
Is this the team this year under TJ Otzelberger that can get Iowa State to the promised land at a Final Four trip?
Auburn is trending towards being the #1 seed in the South. That means first and second round games in Lexington, and then Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games in Atlanta. I have a hard time believing that a team is going to be able to go to Atlanta and beat the Tigers.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
What did you think of stopping him from winning?
Well, tell me this. What side of the fence is Pharrell on here?
Well, he absolutely hated it. I didn't like it, but he was much stronger on the hated the fact that they stopped the golf tournament. I didn't love it either.
If the golf ball, when you're standing over it and you're having golf balls move, they're going to have to halt play.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
We'll see if they get McCain back. Kelly Oubre, Yabusele's been good. Caleb Martin's a defensive specialist. Andre Drummond can still give you, almost a double-double at any point. I can't go south on this team. And now you're giving it to me at 2-1 to make the playoffs? To be in the Final 8? Folks, give me the Philadelphia 76ers to make the playoffs at plus 210.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. Thanks to Brady Cannon for joining us. Let's bring Paul Bovey in right now. And we were just talking. I was talking about how golf's ratings have been down, and they had like 250,000 people watching on Sunday a couple of weeks ago. Like the unrivaled women's basketball league got 298,000 viewers the other night. So, a lot of leagues have sort of, ratings have been down a little bit over the last couple of weeks. And I don't know if it's fatigue with the certain teams or this and that. But the NBA, the NBA's got some problems now. I think it's overblown a little bit, but at the same point in time, you got to recognize some things. And the slam dunk participants were announced the other day. I didn't get to that yet. And it's beyond pathetic how little the NBA players care about representing their league and selling the league. And, load management, injuries, whatever, have always been sort of the public perception with this league. And, let's bring Paul Bovey in the house. And, Paul, last night I brought it up. Joel Embiid last night missed his 400th career game since he's come into the NBA. The dude's played in 440 games, and he's missed 400 games. So it's 47%. He's only played 53% of the time. And I saw Adam Silver today on the Dan Patrick Show talking about the NBA and, what direction are they going to, go in the future. And Adam Silver said he'd like to see 10-minute quarters instead of 12-minute quarters. And I'm thinking to myself, there's already a public perception that people are getting ripped off. Season ticket holders are getting sick of this. Fans buy tickets in advance and have to pray that the player actually cares enough to show up and play. And your solution to this is to make the game shorter. People criticize Rob Manfred because Manfred's kind of clueless and he's not likable. He comes across as just sort of a dickhead attorney. Adam Silver is likable, but no one wants to say it, Paul. I know you do. Dude, the league is going backwards. I don't care about, you got an Amazon deal and you got some money and stuff, but there's a lot of issues that Silver does not address and doesn't seem capable of addressing them.
No, this guy is completely clueless. And again, I did the breakdown, responded to your tweet, because if a player logs a full season, what is he spending at 30 minutes a game, assuming he plays a full season, 40 hours on the court? 40 hours on the court for a full season? What's the big deal? I don't get that. I just don't understand it. And I guess I'm coming from a perspective of someone that actually played some pretty tough pickup games. I never had a problem playing 25, 30, 35 minutes, even into my early 40s. It just seems incomprehensible that these guys can't play and play with a lot of, motivation, drive, whatever you want to call it, for a full season and give the fans what they're paying for. And you're right. And what do you do at halftime? Do you go to the bathroom and not get back to your seat in time and run the risk now that you're missing half the quarter?
Well, the thing is, too, it's I've always thought that the 10-minute quarters are too quick. You watch the Olympic Games or the WNBA, and I'm the WNBA, it's funny, they've been talking about, why don't we just go to 12? Because, it's kind of quick. It's too short. Let's go to 12. And, it's just so gimmicky from the NBA. The big thing is, too, people don't like the barrage of three-point shots as much, right? So, people don't like the game. It's very baseball-like. People, the Major League Baseball just thinks, everything, well, let's just shorten it. And now golf is doing the same thing. Well, you know what? Our problem is it's too long. It's if somebody doesn't like something, they're not going to watch it because it's shorter, right? You've got to, keep the people that like your sport instead of always worrying about trying to get new people that they never get anyways. And, I don't know, it just seems kind of clueless. But as far as the NBA is concerned, big win for the Knicks tonight against the Nuggets. And I did take the Knicks to beat the Nuggets tonight, guys.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear you getting on the bandwagon. Hey, there's been a mad rush for Toronto Raptor tickets now. Apparently,
yeah. You're damn right.
Covering, winning, they're hot.
You're damn right. The Raptors have won. They've won 5 straight games for the first time since 2022. They're now 7-1 straight up in their last 8 games. They're 4.5 out, and it's pretty. It's funny. Before it was all about tanking, but They want the play-in. They're 4.5 out of the play-in now, and they think if they have their players on the court, they can continue to win basketball games, Paul.
Yeah, and they have a revenge game coming up with the Bulls, who they lost to 122-121 a few weeks ago. So maybe they can atone, get win number 6, advance to 15-32. Hey, it's getting serious for the Toronto Raptors. I'm sorry I missed the festivities because I only got to see Milwaukee blow them out. But then again, I probably wouldn't have been able to sit in the third row for $200. So probably ticket prices.
You know what, though? It's funny you say that because I remember I was watching a game a few weeks ago with the Raptors. It was against like Charlotte or something. It was like a month ago. And I looked, I was like, damn, I've never seen a Raptor game that empty. Because in the early days, they were a newer franchise, so people accepted they weren't good. And I was like, I've never seen like that building like that before. And I've caught on now. You'll notice, guys, last few home games were all lit. Everybody's back on the bandwagon again right now. Scotty Barnes, man, listen, Scotty Barnes is good. Like when he's on the court, he really changes a lot of things for this basketball team, man.
Big time. Big time game.
Yeah.
No, not only that, like he makes the other guys better. It's just I look at the Raptors, and you brought up the greatest point. I'm watching other games, and they outwork teams. It's a pretty simple concept. Like when you watch the Raptors play, they might not have the most talent in the league, but they also don't have guys who screw the pooch. Like they work hard. And
the Raptors right now, in 7 of their last 8 games during this streak, they have the number 1 defense in the NBA. They're routinely holding teams to like 90 points. They held Washington to 82 tonight. I know Washington sucked, but still 82 points in an NBA game. The Raptors have a bunch of tough dudes, like the Shed dude from the Houston Cougars. Davion Mitchell played at Baylor, another tough kid. Scotty Barnes, a tough dude. Like Bruce Brown. They got tough guys on the team.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Is it just a matter of his contract, his age? I mean, usually things like this get fixed pretty quickly, but this one is not fixed, and now it's just super uncomfortable.
The opportunity or the idea of getting another team involved adds more complication to the situation, and it doesn't seem like a resolution is anywhere in sight, but the more suspensions come in, the more it's clear that the saga is over, or his time there is over.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. Speaking of the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder are up 34-20. They were laying 9.5. They're rolling by 14 right now. And we got a competitive game going on in the desert, 81-77 for the T-Wolves after 3 quarters of play. over the Phoenix Suns. Before we get to the Super Bowl, Paul, Oklahoma City Thunder, now that football is winding down, college basketball, NBA basketball will start to take center stage. And the NBA landscape right now, there's a lot of new teams, like a lot of teams that don't have postseason success in the past are all the best teams in the NBA this year, amongst the best teams. You can't dismiss Boston. They're kind of going through the motions right now, right? They're still plus 230 favorites, along with the Oklahoma City Thunder at plus 230. Guys, the Thunder are good, but it's hard to justify that low price with a futures bet. Cleveland, I think, actually are the real deal. I know that people have questioned Mitchell in the playoffs before, but he hasn't been on great teams. Atkinson's a great coach. Cleveland are deep. They're good offensively, and, they can play defense as well. The Knicks are pretty freaking dangerous, guys, at 11-1. I just worry that Thibodeau will wear out the players before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Denver in the West, 14-1 is a pretty good number, actually. Like, the Nuggets are kind of getting dismissed because, the Joker's going to dial it up a notch in the playoffs, and he can just single-handedly take games over. But what do you think loosely right now, Paul, of the NBA future board?
Look, I'm not one for futures. I do have my futures on the Knicks at anywhere from plus 9 to plus 11-1, but you just hit the nail on the head. At plus 230, there's just no value there, especially with the NBA, because injuries do happen. I think the Celtics are the equivalent of the Chiefs. They're the old and tired, and I think new blood into these finals is going to be really healthy for the league, for viewership, and it's something that people want to see, particularly Oklahoma City. I don't think as much Cleveland.
You're right.
It's a
dream
market.
matchup would be great. The New York Knicks and Oklahoma. You get to like a new big market team. The Knicks haven't been there forever, and fresh blood, young team, young star like SGA, and middle America, represented as well with Oklahoma City. Right, that would be a good matchup for the league.
That would be a dream matchup. And let's face it, I mean, bias aside, the NBA needs these Knick-type teams, these larger markets to excel. And hopefully we're going to, break through this year because I still remember.
Poor New York.
Year,
I know. It's like LA, these markets. The league needs them.
Indiana, Game 7, it was just the air came out of the balloon, and I'm still seething over that. But, we lost a lot of players due to injury. And as you say, we signed Landry the other day, and he played him all of 5 minutes tonight, last I checked. But hopefully he's going to get more guys into the rotation because, as you say, he can wear this team out. And as we know, some of these players on the Knicks are injury prone. We really need OG, and we didn't have him last year, and that was a big problem.
Yeah, Thibodeau's been known, guys, just to play his starters a little bit too much, except we were just talking about it, right? He believes in the old school. You guys can handle this every day, but there's a difference. Like, he really runs them into the ground. So we'll see if he eases up a little bit. All right, so we got the Super Bowl, and we're not going to be on next Wednesday, Paul, unless you're joining us live in New Orleans. So we'll get some early Super Bowl thoughts from you. What do you think of the number, actually, of the total of 49.5? It just sort of seems to be sitting there. I saw Jimmy Vaccaro posted a ticket tonight. Somebody at South Point just bet $55,000 on the under of the Super Bowl, one of the bigger, earlier bets to come in on this, which a lot of people were debating and saying, well, if you're going to bet the under this game, probably you shouldn't have waited because isn't it probably going to go up? Which way do you think the total goes?
I think it's going to sit right around here because I don't see sharps betting this game over. I understand they scored 73 points last time. The Chiefs had all of 330 yards of offense. Patrick Mahomes threw for 182 yards, 26 yards, the long completion, and Philly had 440. But there was two 45-yard completions in there. These are dink and doink type teams. Look, Kansas City has held 14 opponents this year to 21 or less. And I reversed that. Kansas City, 14 opponents to 20 or less. Philly, 14 opponents to 21 or less.
Long drive. More on the other side. Let's roll. Countdown to kickoff is on. 12.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Is it just a matter of his contract, his age? I mean, usually things like this get fixed pretty quickly, but this one is not fixed, and now it's just super uncomfortable.
The opportunity or the idea of getting another team involved adds more complication to the situation, and it doesn't seem like a resolution is anywhere in sight, but the more suspensions come in, the more it's clear that the saga is over, or his time there is over.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Pittsburgh Penguins just tied up the hockey game. Utah, we're up 1-0. 1-1 in Salt Lake right now. 13 minutes left in the second period. Vancouver Canucks and the Nashville Predators. Third period has started. We played a couple of minutes. We're on the Canucks to win the game, and we're on the under 6. It was 1-1 early in the game, and it's kind of slowed down. So, like I said, Vancouver's hanging on to a 2-1 lead right now. In-game total is 2.5, but it's minus 240 to the under. Pittsburgh, Utah, in-game total is 5.5 right now. Any opinion, Cam, on Pittsburgh and Utah right now?
I'm watching this game right now, and that was kind of a crazy deflection. Ingram had no chance. I will repost. I'm going to take Utah now that it's tied. We don't have to lay the juice that we did at the start, Gabe. They've been the better team, and they've been all over Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh scored on the power play. Give me Utah live, tied 1-1. Not sure about the total.
All right, Paul Bovey in the house with us talking about the Super Bowl. So, Paul, what do you think about the matchup? You were talking about the total and both these defenses. I know both these defenses have been very, very good. The Super Bowl did open up when they played against each other, 38-35. It seems like a pretty sharp number here, right? It's, they know what they're doing. 27-24 gets us there. I do lean with the over because I think there's big play capability here. Saquon's going to pop one. You know what I mean? He's the dynamic player that changes. He's sort of the X factor that changes totals, too. He can just get you a quick touchdown. But that Philadelphia defense is awesome. And KC's offense, thing is, like you said, KC's offense seems to, I think they can step it up, actually. I don't think, they just sort of go through the motions during the regular season, do enough to win, and they have all these plays that they don't run, and then they unleash it, man. In the playoffs, they dial it up a notch. But what do you think about the matchup, Paul, with KC being a 1.5-point favorite?
So when the dust was settling on Sunday, this was the one matchup where I knew I would not have a strong opinion. Well, when you look at the comparison from a couple years ago, Pacheco was the lead back. He was decent. Now they have Kareem Hunt. So I don't think Kansas City's rush offense has improved, but certainly Philly's has, because they got basically no production from the likes of Gainwell, Boston Scott, and now you've got Saquon in there. So I would give an advantage here to Philly, especially knowing that you're taking 1.5 or possibly up to 2 right now. Not that that's going to make a big deal, but I did hear you guys talking teaser, and I know I did have the Bills on a teaser Sunday, and I violated the covenants of gambling, and I linked it with over 41.5, and I got a great number on the teaser for the total. So if you're playing this game, and if I do play it on a side, I know I'm going to tease it, or I know I'm going to play it live, and I would only tease this above 7.5. But unfortunately, you have to find that other dance partner, which I heard you guys alluding to before, which becomes problematic since there's no more football, and a lot of places you're not going to freeze or open up a teaser for the next 8 or 9 months. So that's the way I go with it.
The classic 5-point basketball teaser, 7-point football. Don't forget.
I love the 5-point basketball teaser.
Basketball teasers are, to me, it doesn't make any sense.
The basketball football crossover teaser.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You'd always find a spot for it.
Paul, I could ask you one question.
If you want to get really creative, you could go a 10-point teaser. Take both teams. You'd have Kansas City at this point plus 8.5, plus 11.5 for Philly. And you go, in your case, Gabe, you can go over the 39. All you need is, not much, 23-17.
24, yeah.
And you reach the promise.
24-17.
Yeah.
If you were going to do the same game, Paul, would you take 56.5 under or 42.5 over with Philly 8.5 if you're going to do a 7-pointer? Which way do you lean?
I like the under. I like the under.
Philly plus 8.5, 56.5 under. I think that's a good teaser. I think Gabe talked about middling. I think it's a great number by the books. I think the over and the under, it'll hit that window. It'll be right around 46, 47 points, don't you think?
Guys, let's not forget one thing. For the entire year, Patrick Mahomes, which I said last week, has been on his horse. Their offensive line is not very good. He figures to be under a lot of duress in this game. And that translates into short passes, possibly him running. More than likely, he's going to run not necessarily by design, but by necessity when they chase him out of the pocket. So I just don't see this game getting away and into the 70s like last game. So the teaser may be a way to go. And in Gabe's case, you go over. In my case, I would go under.
There's no secret that the Kansas City Chiefs struggle against the tight end, Paul. We all like Goddard. I like Goddard a lot last week. I talked about how Philadelphia was going to, we all knew the Washington was going to try to sell out, stack the box. And right away, they just started attacking over the middle of the field with Goddard. Spagnuolo's offense does this deliberately, right? They willingly give up yards over the middle, the middle of the field. Last week, the Buffalo Bills, looking at the tight ends last week, Dawson Knox, 1 catch, 7 yards, and Dalton Kincaid, 2 catches, 13 yards, and of course the big drop at the end of the game. The Bills did not do a very good job of exploiting Kansas City's weakness last week, Paul. What about Goddard at 47.5? Does that high number scare you off?
Well, I was actually going to just say, much to my chagrin, because I came on here and I loved Kareem Hunt, and I gave that out, and he got that, I think, a minute into the second quarter. He was already at 34, 35 yards. I gave out Kelsey under, and I did mention Kincaid over. And unfortunately, he hit him with an 11-yard pass early on, and I'm like, oh, baby, I'm off to the races. Well, you know what? He just disappeared the rest of the way. Until, I didn't feel as bad with the drop. I felt bad for Josh Allen and the Bills because that would have given him 17 yards and it wouldn't have put him over the top. It would have given him 30, but still, I just didn't understand it. But Dallas Goedert makes a lot of sense. And he opened up at 46.5, 47.5. Look, I checked this morning. He's already into the 50s. I saw one site he's 52.5, 50.5, 51.5. Probably go a little bit higher. Makes a lot of sense. At this point, I might be inclined to go with receptions at 4.5 rather than the yardage because I do think he'll get a lot of short stuff to him at the very least. But, it makes sense.
I brought that up, that the player props, they get hit early right now, and the numbers are going to move. Johnny Casual and Public, they all bet like they're going to bet this stuff on the weekend, next, the Super Bowl weekend, but the numbers are moving, and that's crazy with Goddard. I'm looking at an updated number right now because a book I saw was 47.5 for Goddard, and that is currently 50.5 right now, as Paul alluded to. Devontae Smith, 50.5. Dotson, 2.5. A.J. Brown, 70.5. Saquon Barkley, 13.5. Xavier Worthy, 53.5. Juju Smith-Schuster, 14.5. That's pretty low for a guy that's played in big games before, actually.
Agreed.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Wicked Wednesday continues. Countdown to kickoff is on. Super Bowl Sunday, Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs. Like I said, there's a lot of backlash about it. People are upset. They don't like Kansas City. They're tired of Kansas City. Philadelphia aren't really a massively popular team outside of Philadelphia. People don't really like Philadelphia sport fan. So like it's like a New York or a Boston or Philly thing. They're just so isolated in their own world, and they're not very nice to other fans. So it's not like people are like, oh, I'm happy for the Eagles. But on paper and in reality as well, Kansas City aren't invincible. And I know, listen, they keep on beating Buffalo and Baltimore over and over to get to the Super Bowl. Burrow was able to beat them. He's only lost to Tom Brady and Burrow in the playoffs before. But I think, Paul, and I said this last night, this is the second time for the Eagles now back in the Super Bowl, right? I think it does matter, actually. That whole Super Bowl circus and stuff, the first time you're in it, with the media row and the constant interviews and the weird practices, and like, it's not like a normal football week. You know what I mean? It's a sideshow. And teams, I think, being through that already will help the Philadelphia Eagles. They're deeper, even though they're a little banged up. They're deeper on defense than they were a couple of years ago as well. And they've got Saquon Barkley. And I think Jalen Hurts, even though not 100%, is actually healthier than he was in the last Super Bowl that they were in. So to me, it's almost like Buffalo, but it's not, at least in Kansas City, if not now when, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. This is an opportunity for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl for real. And unfortunately for the rest of the world, it sets up, man, they probably play again next year in the Super Bowl in part 3. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I'm leaning with the Eagles right now. Paul, what about you?
Yeah, I would, if with the side, I would lean with the Eagles because you just pointed it out. They have Barkley, and that's the key because a couple of years ago, they just didn't have that. They didn't have that rushing attack. Jalen Hurts, I believe, in that game, Super Bowl, ran the ball 15 times for 70 yards, and the running backs did nothing. So the onus fell on him for whatever they gained on the ground. That's not going to happen here, and it can happen because I don't think he's healthy enough to do that and run the ball 15 times. But now they've got a real weapon back there, and he can also catch the ball out of the backfield. So I think Philly has an edge, and we've seen Kansas City this year. They have been vulnerable, but they're the team that just happens to pull it out somehow. They did against the Bengals early on the season, 26-25, and so on throughout the year. And I think the Eagles have a good shot to beat them. But let's not discount the fact that Philly struggled with several teams, including Carolina, who they barely defeated. Last-second pass, incomplete. We thought it was complete, 22-16. Jacksonville only by 5 points. So both of these teams are vulnerable, but I think Philly has an edge here.
If you look, Spagnuolo is a defensive genius. So is Fangio. So it's almost, to me, the defense is just sort of like write each other off here. Can Sirianni outcoach Andy Reid? Because that's what happened with Buffalo. They got outcoached by Reid. McDermott got outcoached. Joe Brady got outcoached by Spagnuolo. Coaching matters in the Super Bowl, Paul. That's the one thing. To me, though, Saquon Barkley sort of masked Sirianni's flaws a little bit. There were a lot of games this year. Like you said, Paul, the Carolina game. Hell, I don't know if you remember the New Orleans game earlier in the year. The Eagles were struggling against the Saints. Saquon Barkley saved their ass, bro, by popping a couple of long runs. Like, Saquon saved them like 4 or 5 times, if not more this year, with long runs like earlier in the season, the regular season.
Yeah, that's true. And I believe against the Saints, they were without Taysom Hill as well. So,
that's right.
Yeah, the Eagles skated by on a couple of occasions. Should be a contentious game, and that's why you got
Kansas City only beat Carolina by 3. Let's remember that. They struggled with Carolina, too, when Carolina got on a heater and started to play better. The Chiefs beat them by 3. Phillies, both teams. So, that's just my case for Philadelphia. They had problems with Carolina, too. Kansas City.
The Panthers are en route to a dynasty, so what are we talking about here? Come on.
Well, you guys can bet the over again next year. You'll have a better chance next year than you're hitting it this year.
They almost got there, Gabe. We got screwed.
Well, all kidding aside, Bryce Young did turn a corner. Like, there's no disputing this. So, like, Bryce Young turned a corner. You've got to get him a wide receiver. You got to, you know what I mean? You got to start to get some weapons in there. You got to draft well. I like to see a nice tight end there with them, and there are a lot of tight ends in the draft this year, actually. So, last year I thought it was a little bit of a rush for Carolina, but I really like what I saw from Bryce Young in the offense down, and Canales. Canales is a good coach. I think he's a smart guy. Like I said, they got Bryce Young starting to figure it out. They just got some depth issues, but they're going in the right direction, Carolina.
Absolutely. They did. You know what? If I would have gotten to the last week of Survivor and I got knocked out with the Giants and the Colts, I would have had Atlanta. Okay. I'm sure I would have taken some money off the table with some hedges, but Carolina upset him last week. Atlanta had to win the football game.
We never talked about it. We weren't on. It was like Christmas around the time, Paul, and then after, sensitive. I know it's upsetting you went so far, but I know you also scalped it along the way. It did well for yourself, but how frustrating was it to go down that it was your freaking New York Giants that did you in, too, in that game?
The frustrating part was that I actually had the Chargers penciled in. I even texted Maddie and said, what time do I have to get this pick in by? And I flipped, and then Maddie messaged me and said, are you sure you want the Giants?
Oh, that's the worst thing at the text.
No. Okay. So it's like, how you get that phone call from God, and I'm like, there must be something to this. Maddie has never done that. Well, I ignored it, and it cost me because I'm sure I would have taken a couple hundred out on Carolina and their team total over. But I don't want to talk about this because, I don't want to lose my appetite before lunch.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry to bring it up. I know.
No, it's one of those things. I've actually healed. It took me a couple weeks, but anyway, yeah. So
I only lasted 3 weeks, and I'm still bothered. Great job, though, Paul.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Is it just a matter of his contract, his age? Usually things like this get fixed pretty quickly, but this one is not fixed, and now it's just super uncomfortable.
The opportunity or the idea of getting another team involved adds more complication to the situation, and it doesn't seem like a resolution is anywhere in sight, but the more suspensions come in, the more it's clear that the saga is over, or his time there is over.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Morency. The Wicked Wednesday continues. Great stuff with Paul Bovey, as always. The Vancouver Canucks up 2-1 with under 4 minutes left right now in Nashville. You know, these two teams have played quite a bit over the last couple of years. They played in the playoffs last year. There's like a little mini rivalry developing between the two of them. But Vancouver have played well. Like, Vancouver beat them in the playoffs. They beat them 3 to 4 times in the regular season last year. Then they beat them in the playoffs. I think they split this year. I do remember Nashville going into Vancouver and beating them, actually. So this could potentially be a split. I think it's only the second time they played. But Vancouver have played better. You know, they were never as bad as people made it out to be. There was a lot of drama off the ice. The thing is with Vancouver is when they lost, they would lose at home. They lose at home, and then they would lose, like they would get blown out. So it pisses people off. They pay $400 to go to the game, and the team loses 6-0, and then they go on the road and they win 4 or 5, and then they come back home and they lose 7-1. Right? Like, so it starts to frustrate people, and the anger grows, and people in Vancouver are kind of whiny to begin with. Like, the media's whiny, the fan base is whiny, but I get it. They've never won the Stanley Cup before. They've been in the league since 1970. They never won before. So, you know, it's a lot like sort of like the Bills. There's like Vancouver has this like anger like beneath the scenes that comes out, man, when they don't do well, as we saw when they lost in the Cup against like everything's fine until it's not in Vancouver. And then when it's not, it gets ugly. So
people don't know, Gabe. They've had a long rivalry with Nashville. People forget back in the day when Joel Ward and that Nashville team went on a heater, the team that stopped them was Ryan Kessler in Vancouver that went to the Cup and eventually lost to Boston. Vancouver and Nashville have had, it's actually weird because out of all their rivalries, like geographically, you wouldn't think so, but they have a history, these teams, and they always play tight, really good hockey games all the time. It's a good rivalry.
The Canucks, the Canucks have played well against Nashville. But the Canucks now, this could potentially be their third win in a row if they can hang on, which is an accomplishment for them. It was pretty crazy, but when they won their second game in a row the other day, it was the first time that they won 2 in a row since December. Which, if you're a really good team, now you can't do that. Like, you can't be alternating wins and losses all the time. And that's what Vancouver have been doing. Like, they lose 2, they win 1. They win 1, they lose 1. Like, they can't get anything going, and they're actually not in a playoff spot right now. And I brought it up. Their GM, Jim Rutherford, the president, he actually is technically the president. He went on local radio, TV, and basically said that, that they're at the end of the rope here. He said, you know what, it's kind of true that there's been problems in the room, and it doesn't seem like this group can coexist with each other. I wondered, I'm like, what the hell is he doing? And I was like, why tip your hand? He goes, we're going to have to break this group up. And, no one says that publicly. And then I realized, it's more for show what he's doing here. It was a message to the room, like for real. It was like, listen, I'm going to break this up if you guys don't shut up and start winning. I will break this up for real right now. And JT Miller the other night played his ass off, man. Like he's been criticized. Like, dude was like, he got into a fight. He never fights. He got into a fight with someone. He scored. Like, he's been playing really hard. And I think, like I said, the Canucks, maybe this is a little spark they need. If they can hang on, this will be their third win in a row tonight. And to get into the playoffs, the teams that are ahead of them are the Kings and the Calgary Flames.
And
the Flames remind me a lot. And I said this earlier in the year, the Flames this year remind me a lot of last year's Vancouver team. They play hard. They have really good goaltending. Like, the Flames are a tough out. Like, they're hard to deal with, the Flames right now. The Kings are just the Kings. Like, the Kings are always the same. But we'll see if the Flames can keep this pace up coming out of the Four Nations face-off. But I still expect the Vancouver Canucks to make the playoffs. They're going to go on a run here before it's done.
Funny, Gabe, the Leafs lost to Minnesota tonight for a 3-game losing streak, and you hear the world's going to come to an end with these guys. Like, 5-7. But I'll tell you this. One thing that's same as Vancouver, the Road Warriors, 5-7 in their last 12 at home, and people are paying how much money to go watch these guys suck? Minnesota, they were literally, they didn't even show up tonight. It was a pathetic performance. Like, no effort, no nothing. It was gross. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, that's why
money back.
That's why people kind of cherry pick when they rip the NBA only for this.
Mm-hmm.
People, the NBA and NHL is so much this and that. I'm like, you're not paying attention if you think every NHL team is trying every night. Trust me, if you know hockey, you can tell, You know what I mean? It's harder to tell. Like, the common fan can't tell when a hockey team isn't trying. Right? But, like, it's hard to tell because they're all skating around still, but you can tell if you know the game.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Is it just a matter of his contract, his age? I mean, usually things like this get fixed pretty quickly, but this one is not fixed, and now it's just super uncomfortable.
The opportunity or the idea of getting another team involved adds more complication to the situation, and it doesn't seem like a resolution is anywhere in sight, but the more suspensions come in, the more it's clear that the saga is over, or his time there is over.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The Vancouver Canucks have just won 3-1. Third win in a row, and I can tell you what, I know this team well. Body language, very good right now. Like, there were times earlier when they won, and you could tell it was very, yeah, fake high five, and like, see you later. You know what I mean? The old 25 guys, 25 limos on the way out after the game, they're saying, see you later, see you next, you know what I mean? Like, now you can genuinely tell, like, they stop and they're hugging, they're smiling, they all got comments and they're laughing with each other. Like, you can tell. Pettersson and Miller didn't hug each other right here, but like, somebody joked about that. Somebody said, like, when they were winning, somebody said, yeah, well, don't expect them to, like, hug or anything, but like, yeah, like, but the Canucks, winning eases everything up, right? Like Demko said, he goes, man, if we go on a 5 or 6 game win streak, no one will care who gets along with who. And he was right. So, it's not like this was new.
He has to get back on track, and he did tonight. This was easily his best game since
Babano's with us. And the fact is, Babano, I've said this, they're in a weird spot. They've been waiting for him to come back so much, but he hasn't been good every time he comes back, and Lankinen has been good, right? But you've got to get Demko into a groove here. He played well against Edmonton. They got the win. They went with Lankinen against the Capitals. Lankinen was great. They go back with Demko here. He gets the win, plays well, like you said, 32 shots on goal tonight for Nashville. But nice win for the Vancouver Canucks tonight. It's plus 120 underdogs, and the Kings lose. So, like I said, that playoff picture right now in the Western Conference is pretty crowded, guys.
It's going to go down right to the wire, both conferences. And the Eastern wildcard race is insane right now. There's so many teams that could still make it. So it's going to be a battle right until mid to late April when the regular season ends. And Vancouver's still right there. All it takes is a few wins in a row, and you're right there.
I've got Vancouver over 91.5 It's 91.5, I think. I mean, let me confirm. It might be 94.5, actually. But whatever. Like, I'm not panicking about it, actually. I still think it's going to get there. What's my number? Oh, God. Oh, it's higher than I thought. It's 99.5. Well, now I got a problem, actually.
Now you got to slow down. That's a lot of points.
I'm going to stop betting hockey futures. I never win.
I remember that. Win with Montreal. Montreal's doing great.
I got Montreal over. But like, no, but normally futures, Cam, I kill it. Like I remember last year in the NHL, I played like 6 of them, and it was like 3-3. Saying like, sort of hit or miss. Like I get cute too much. Like here's one that I played: Vegas Golden Knights under 98.5.
I played that one too, and I'm not afraid to admit it.
Keep waiting for them.
Wrong. Yeah, no, it's that was a bad pickup by me. We're
How many points do they have now? Do we have a puncher's chance? We might have a puncher's chance, right?
Are you kidding me? No way. We got no chance. These guys get points all the time.
They got to go on a slide.
Oh, they got to lose like 7 games in a row. Stone's got to get hurt.
They're 67 already right now. Yeah.
We're done. Trust me. I'm doing good with a couple teams, like a couple sleepers, but Vegas.
No, I'm telling you, Cam, if the Vegas Golden Knights, we need like a 5-game losing streak for these son of a bitches. Like if they look, they've got 50, they got 67 now. I got under 90. We got under 98.5. So that's 32 points in 31 games. They got.
It's not possible. All they do is
we need them to start losing. I know, but they don't. I know.
Getting regulation. They drive a. Have you seen a team, Babana?
My other terrible bet. Oh my God!
All the loser points. All the loser points.
This was the worst bet ever that I made. I took the Columbus Blue Jackets. I took Columbus under.
Yeah, they're hot.
I took Columbus under 68.5. They have right now 55.
Oh yeah, Columbus is good.
Dear God, and they got 32 games left with 55. Yeah, the Columbus Blue Jackets are the biggest surprise in the National Hockey League this year.
And
the fact that these guys are 24-19.
They got good young players on that team, and they work their ass off, and the Goudreau stuff kind of galvanized their team. The problem with Vegas is, Gabe, when I watch them, they're kind of like the Kansas City Chiefs. They're losing. Here they come. Third period, late goal, 4 seconds left. They do it all the time. When Dallas beat them in overtime the other night, I'm like, thank God, because I was just going to put an X in the ledger because they always win in overtime.
Told you why Vegas win too, because they're dirty. And it helps them. Like, you got to, like, they're just the dirt. Like, you saw the other day, Stone takes a defenseman out. He's like, oh, I got tripped. It's like, yeah, you kind of flew into him, though. Like, at the same point in time. Like, they're always like, in this gray area of, like, sort of, was it dirty or not? But, and I said, they're a damn good team. But, yeah, my futures are going up in flames. I need the Canucks to get hot. I still think they can get to 100. They got to get hot. And I got my Jackets one is going to lose. The Canadians is looking good. And what's the other one?
Bruins are doing
I didn't
nothing.
play
That
Boston.
I did out of spite.
I got the Islanders over 91.5. They're they're battling right now. They're starting to get back into things here now. The Islanders.
They're middle.
For my 92 points, they're at 51 right now.
What do you think?
They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've won 5 in a row.
I don't think they're getting in. The Islanders.
I don't need them to get in. I need them to get to 92.
He just cares about the point.
I don't need them to get into the playoffs.
Watching Boston get worse has been like one of the only good things I have going on right now from a sports perspective, with all my other teams losing, except for the Raptors. But yeah, they got like the Sabres murdered them 7-2. Like, that team's got issues, bro. Like, big time.
And looking at the wild card right now, yeah, the Boston Bruins are hanging on by 1 point. So Boston have 56 points, Tampa have 55 points, Columbus have 55 points, Detroit have 53, Montreal have 53, the Rangers have 52, and I don't know how the Flyers have 52 points. It seems like they lose all the time, but they are 6-3-1 in their last 10. Flyers are in the mix at 52, and hell, the Islanders are at 51.
I'm going to make
and
a
the Penguins
prediction.
are at 48 right now.
The Detroit Red Wings make the playoffs. They've been a totally different team since they changed their coach. They're coming back, winning games. If they did this at the start of the year, they'd be on fire. I don't know how Babano feels. I think the Detroit Red Wings.
You think the Red Wings will get in?
Gabe, at the start of the year, they were one of the biggest disappointments. They're on a serious heater, and it's been on for a long time. They're winning more games than they're losing right now. They're good.
I think Boston will stumble more, actually. So I'll sort of take Boston out of it. I think Tampa will make it as the wild card, and then that would leave one spot, Babano, for either, like, let's say Tampa makes it. I think Tampa makes it. So that would leave one spot for Boston, Columbus, Detroit, Montreal, Rangers, Flyers, Islanders. Who do you think would make it?
I think Detroit's got a real shot at it. I still think the Rangers could find a way because of Shesterkin. Like, Shesterkin's capable of that run where he goes, 9 straight games, giving up 2 goals or less, gives his team a chance to win. It's really remarkable. They just floundered as badly as they did the Rangers. I wouldn't rule them out just yet, especially if they make a move at the deadline to address some things.
That's a lot of teams not making the playoffs there, Morency. Wow, I'm thinking that list of. I'm thinking like Philadelphia won't get there. I think they're gone. Babano's right. Rangers will find a way. Detroit's better.
But you got to look at Kim. Which fan bases would be the most mad? Like, Boston will be legit pissed if the Bruins don't make the playoffs. So that would be a fun thing to see. I'd
like to make that bet right now. I'd like to make that bet right now.
Columbus fans listen. Columbus, dude, this is a miracle they're this good, so they can't complain if they don't make it.
It's already a great season that they're in the wild card race right now. It's already a great season for Columbus. Yeah.
I think Red Wing fans will be frustrated. They haven't been good in a while. They've been knocking on the door. Yeah. Canadian fans, the younger, the modern generation of Canadian fans are more positive than the past. Like, if I was there, I'd be bitching that the Canadians suck, that they're only fighting for a wild card spot, right? But, like, everyone's there going to be, say, the playoffs, huh? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's true, though. Like, the bar has been lowered in Montreal, and they accept it. Like, they just do. Ranger fans will be pissed if they don't make the playoffs. Dolan will be pissed. He'll want to fire everybody. And then you got Boston's the West. What's going on in the West here?
Other than Pasternak and a couple of guys, this team's on the decline, man. Big time.
Question is, will Swayman get better? He's been struggling, right? Will he get better? Or is he not,
He can't win them all the games.
Was he not that great?
That's the problem. He's good.
Oh,
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Jimmy Butler has spread his cancer all over the Heat, and he has ruined their season. I do believe they'll never recover from this disastrous guy that is, purged on them. I mean, he's ruined. Like, they don't matter anymore at all. Like, I watched them play last night. They suck.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They have a lot of hopes, and they thought last year they were turning the corner. Even early this year, they start turning the corner, and then you lose 13 games in a row.
Edmonton chipped away, got a late goal, won the game 4-3. I felt like they dominated the third period. They moved the puck on that power play. It was an exceptional hockey game. It went over the total.
Only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency, the Pitch the Players, the Hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. 60-54, the Golden State Warriors going on a little bit of a run to battle back against Oklahoma City. College basketball, I thought it was a chalky night tonight. I didn't see any sort of live dogs on the road. Nevada, we're getting 7.5 at Boise State. Boise are up 48-36 right now with 9 minutes left. UNLV and Utah State. UNLV are chipping away, actually. They're double-digit underdogs, and they're down by 8 right now, 52-44. Utah State are up with 9.5 left in Logan. And I tell you what, Stanford were up 23-2. And I don't know what it is, man. You see these teams, man, they go out to Cal and Stanford and stuff, and they get like punched in the mouth really early in these games. But Syracuse have chipped away. It's 29-22 right now, actually. So it's suddenly a game. In-game total is 137.5. Any thoughts, Babano, on the late-night college basketball games? 3 games going on.
So I'm on Boise, and they're in decent shape right now. I thought it was a great spot off 2 road losses. I don't think Nevada's any good. I'll be quite honest. I don't think they're that good of a basketball team. I think there's some issues there. They're not playing up to the level of talent that Alford recruited to this team, and they've had some duds against good teams. They got bombed by San Diego State at home over the weekend. I thought Boise's just a better team, and to only lay 6.5 with them was reasonable. So they're up 12 right now, which is a good sign for me right with that. Utah State 52-44. I thought it was a little too pricey on Utah State. I wanted to take Utah State in this spot against UNLV, but I didn't want to lay 10.5. That being said, they're up 9, and the point spread's still very much up in the air. And I laid it with Stanford against Syracuse because Syracuse, I don't think their coach there, Autry, is going to be there much longer. I don't think he's done a great job. It's been a bad year for Syracuse. And the one thing Stanford's been good at is really annihilating mediocre to below average teams at home when they make that trip out west. They did it to Miami, and they were doing it early, but Syracuse has come back. I still think Stanford can cover that game, though.
Yeah, Stanford are enjoying life in the ACC. They're not really having a problem with it. They're going, they've even won some games on the road. Like I said, they're doing well. Stanford football's struggling, but at this rate, Stanford they're an NCAA tournament team. You know what I mean? They're winning games.
The Eastern teams are having a harder time adjusting than the Western teams. For some, would you not say percentage-wise, if you really think about it and break it down, they deal with it better? I don't know the answer
not
behind
in football.
It.
Not in football. In football, it was very clear. Teams that were traveling, it was a problem for them. Either way, actually. Teams were struggling with the travel, east or west. Basketball is different. I mean, like I said, the Big Ten teams are having the Big Ten teams keep on going into California and beating the LA teams. The ACC is different though. This Bay Area stuff, like Babano said, I brought it up. The Cal Stanford stuff, and you said, like you said, Babano, Miami went there and it was the same thing. If you look at these Cal games, it's the exact same thing. They're winning 19-3 early in these games. They're just punching these ACC teams in the mouth on the road, but small sample size. It's the first year still right now. But look, SMU went into the ACC and won. So I think the moral of the story here, guys, is the ACC is not that good. You can move into the conference and win. SMU went in there and they won. And, Cal and Stanford were getting their ass handed to them in the Pac-12 every night. Now suddenly they're winning in the ACC.
And what team do we always fade? Bowl season? It's the same thing. Oh, ACC sucks in bowl games in football year after year after year. They were pathetic this year. All their teams got lost.
They got killed. Man. Yeah, they were 1-10.
They had that bowl challenge, man. They were right at the bottom.
It was a brutal season for them in the bowls. Yep. They did not.
Golden State have come back. Wow. 64-63 suddenly. I thought the spread was too high. I thought Oklahoma City was going to win, but I thought the spread was too high in this game. I was like, man, that's a lot of points to be laying. On the road, 9.5 in this. Golden State still had a couple of players playing tonight. All right, let's get to the golf. We got Pebble Beach. We got Brady Cannon's picks. Cam, what do you got for Pebble Beach?
Thanks, Gabe. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're playing it, opening up 2 rounds, one on Spyglass and Pebble Beach. They will play, as Brady said, 3 rounds at Pebble Beach, but on the opener, they split it up. 80-man field, no cut. Let's rock. Ludwig Aberg was leading by a mile last week. People thought he was going to run away with it. What happened? He got sick. He was like throwing up and stuff, and he didn't even withdraw. He kind of grinded it out, but he fell off the board. I like him this week at 22. He should be about 14. I think that's a great price. Jason Day, always top 5, top 10 at Pebble Beach, one of his favorite places to play in the world. So I'm going to take a shot. Brady Cannon hit Harris English 110-1, and he's on Maverick McNeely. So am I at 55-1. Gabe, I like a nice hoagie sandwich after the show. 75, one here before. Length is not a problem. It's all about his putter. Rasmus Højgaard, one of the best players on the European Tour, heading to California. He won't mind the little chill in the air. He's a really, really good player on the Ryder Cup team as well. 85 is a good price. And I have an addiction to Cole Kane. It's Eric Cole. He's killing me. This guy, I can't. You like that one, Gabe? I said that to Carver today.
Cole Kane's getting you.
Yeah, Cole Kane. It's a very, very dangerous
You got a
drug.
Cole Kane addiction. Yeah, I like it.
I said it to Carver.
This is your time almost to like get him though, Cam, because if he's not going to win in this sort of silly season now, like he ain't winning the Masters or something, right? Like, so it's almost like, you've been betting on him a lot in this season.
I have. I know he's great for a top 20, but I'm probably at tournament number like 70 something now. So I got 68 more shots at 140-1, and maybe he'll come through. But I'll tell you one thing about Cole. He's a very good top 20 player, but maybe one day he'll win, and I'm going to take a shot because he likes Pebble Beach. Top 10s, people talk about Cantlay. Very great record here. Top 10 plus 120. And Morikawa, his odds are too low to win, but plus 145 for a top 10, top 20. Gabe, I'm on Pendrith, the same as Brady Cannon. Do you know Taylor Pendrith, hot Canadian? We talked about Canadians like to play Pebble Beach too. Nick Taylor has won here before. He is a great price, plus 120 for a top 20. Thomas Dietrich, one of the best players not to win. He's plus 160. Keegan Bradley has not finished worse than 15th this year. Give me plus 80 for a top 20. I'm in. Gracerman, first round leaders, Gabe, at Pebble Beach, 2 courses. Pendrith 22, Dietrich 28, Novak 35. At Spyglass, Aberg 16, Bradley 25, McCarthy 30. Enjoy the golf, everybody.
We'll have some more picks on the other side. We'll see Babano's got some golf selections. We'll get to the best of X as well before we're done here. The Wicked Wednesday continues. Bring it.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Jimmy Butler has spread his cancer all over the Heat, and he has ruined their season. I do believe they'll never recover from this disastrous guy that is, purged on them. I mean, he's ruined. Like, they don't matter anymore at all. Like, I watched them play last night. They suck.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
You know, they have a lot of hopes, and they thought last year they were turning the corner. Even early this year, they start turning the corner, and then you lose 13 games in a row.
Edmonton chipped away, got a late goal, won the game 4-3. I felt like they dominated the third period. They moved the puck on that power play. It was an exceptional hockey game. It went over the total.
Only on SportsGrid.
I'll get Babano's golf picks in a second. I want to get to the best of X. We've got a couple of them here, which are pretty good. Let's start off. We were talking about Utah earlier and the hockey team name and all that. But here's a random appearance, although Conor McGregor is entering Kid Rock territory. Like, this guy is like, he'll show up at an Arby's right now. Like, you know what I mean? If you invite him, it's like Hulk Hogan. I'll be there, brother. I'll be there, brother.
At an Arby's. He shows up, my girlfriend.
Hey, Hulk, we'll give you $250 and we'll let you pimp your beer. I'll be there, brother.
Give me some horsey sauce.
So I don't know. Conor, like I said, Conor McGregor pops up. Like the other day, he was in a Milwaukee Buck game and he got in Robin Lopez's face. Or Brooke Lopez, whatever one. I don't know. I was confusing two of them. Whatever. Which one is it? Brooke. I think Brooke. Yeah. But Brooke mean mugged him after. It was for fun. But here's Conor McGregor at the BYU game last night. BYU and Baylor. And as I look how unhappy he looks, like he just looks. And like I tweeted, clearly he was unaware that there's no alcohol in the arena at BYU. Like there's no way he knew. Like he literally, like you could tell he's thinking this is a living hell. Like how long do I have to, like, I'm surprised he doesn't get up and leave. Like,
exactly.
So Connor's definitely going to tell his handlers, hey, you dumbasses, no more promotional events in Utah. So there's Conor McGregor last night at the BYU game. And this one I just loved about the Anaheim Ducks. This is a good one. As the Ducks are on a winning streak.
Sorry, I love that stuff.
Look at this duck hitting the drum. He likes it.
Oh, sorry, that is wicked. I love this.
That's the Anaheim Duck official account, too. Awesome. I like the Ducks. I like the Ducks. They got a fun account and stuff like that. Yeah. I just read a piece, too, on Front Office Sports. They were saying, or Wall Street, whatever. It was about how the Angels, people in Anaheim don't like the name, the LA Angels. They're not LA. Like, it's LA, like, it's Orange County. Like, they're proud of it. And they were like, the Ducks are all in on Orange County. They're the Anaheim Ducks, not the LA Ducks. They're the Anaheim Ducks. And I love this. Play it one more time here. Look, the Ducks are off on a win streak. They got their official mascot, the Duck.
It's so good. It's so good. No, the crazy thing is, Gabe, you're right. And guys at the PGA Tour, they got Anaheim Ducks logos, like Jake Knapp. He's an Anaheim Ducks, like,
yeah, look at their colors, like orange, like they really, their new colors, very orange, like Orange County, right? They're like, no, we're not LA, we're Orange County, we're Anaheim, and it's smart. Like people are starting to buy in right now. I like that duck there. A big fan of the duck drum. Keep the beat going. Maybe that's their keep.
Better drummer than Ringo Starr already.
Look at this. There was once, though, that he even got a little double thing in there. He was going, and he got both, and he kept going. Like, you can tell he likes it. Like, he's looking down, like, hey, what's going on? What are your golf picks there, Babano?
Golf picks: Cantlay 20-1, Hoagie 75-1, Harry Hall 90-1, Nick Taylor 90-1, Pendrith 60-1, and a big bomb, Justin Rose 180-1 here at Pebble.
It's interesting. No, the thing is, Gabe, Rose has done that TGL thing that you're talking about. A lot of those old guys, maybe, you know what I mean, loosen up and stuff. Like, Rose is still a good player. He shouldn't be 180. He should be like 100.
It's exactly what he said in the write-up with Rose, my golf guy said. Should be closer to 125, not 180. Yeah.
I'm going to roll with the top 20 finish, the All-Canadian special. Adam Hadwin, Nick Taylor, Taylor Pendrith to be top 20. Plus 33.65. I got a bad payday if it hits.
That's you know what? And Brady Cannon advised it, and that guy had
I'm just pulling for top 20s here. I'm not, exactly. I'm not asking. Like you said, like these guys have won before here. Like there's no reason why this can't hit. It's only an 80-player field, Cam.
And also, Hadwin, like people would say, who's the guy? It's Hadwin. But Hadwin has like all the good tools that you need at Pebble Beach. It's not about length. It's about keeping it in play. And as long as his putter cooperates, Gabe, that's a very attainable parlay, actually. Like, it's good.
33.65. It's a nice price.
I'm playing it too. I have to.
Let's see. Like, you put $50 pays $1,732.
Sold.
25 pays $866. Still pretty good.
Very good.
Right, like $25 to get
Dude, it's like winning a golf
160.
tournament. It's 33-1. You're taking a guy in the mid-tier. And these are top 20s. It's a great price. Like, it's really good.
$30. $30 gets you over a dime back. $30 gets you $1,039. Thanks, Ian Cameron. See you, Cam. We'll be back for the Thursday night throwdown. Other than that, you're on your own later.